All right, team, gather round. We're 10 points down, 10 seconds out. We need everyone to huddle in. We're going to run 3 Wise Radio.
All right. So I ran down the list for stuff. We'll do Writer's Strike. We will also do 2000 to 04. Sam, do you have a list of toys ready for us?
I am getting it ready right now.
Cool.
I'm just trying to find the website that I normally use.
Just bookmark that bad boy.
It sounds complicated.
Yeah, bookmark it for the next 2 more times we do this.
3. We talked about the possibility of a prequel.
Oh, yeah.
85 to 89.
I don't know if I want to do that.
I think I do. Just because I can think of like a handful of movies I actually liked.
Okay, it'll be just you then.
No, you like them too, because I'm thinking of genre movies.
Okay. But those are movies that I liked after the fact.
Well, yes, no one liked them.
A lot of these movies are movies. That's the biggest thing that I've understood. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Right, yeah, we can talk about it. So, all right, we've got that. We've got writers going on strike. We got a list of headlines. I'd say we got a complete show today.
Incredible.
It's like we try.
Almost.
Welcome to 3 Wise Radio, a podcast where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV, technology, the internet, and pretty much everything else media related. My name is Joey J, and I am broadcasting from the decks of the Black Pearl this week. Joining me as usual are Garrett Welker and Sam Pixley.
You're from the deck? Are you in the Black Pearl or on top of it?
I'm on top.
Okay.
If I'm underneath, you can't get the signal. You got to be out in the open air.
Yeah, he's got a point there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Be careful for that seawater, though. Probably not good for your equipment.
No, it's not. But you know what? Everything is wet over here. Everything. It's like been pouring rain nonstop.
I would think so.
It's almost like I'm in St. Louis.
Almost.
Well, anyway, as we were talking about, we have a great show for you this week. We're going to be doing another installment in our 3 Wise Now Loves the 2000s, as we'll be looking at the years 2000 through 2004. And also be talking about the writer's strike. Yes, that is correct. Your favorite show may not be on air again like it was 10 years ago. So we'll delve into that in a little bit. But first and foremost, some headlines, starting with, who here loved Logan in theaters?
I'm pretty sure all of us.
I did.
Well, great. You can see it again because on May 16th, it is coming back to theaters in black and white.
What is the draw with this thing now? Like with Mad Max and with Logan, I feel like we're starting to see this trend of these movies aren't being taken seriously as films. Let's release it in black and white and that'll show them because filters are art. Like, does that feel like what this is kind of turning into?
I mean, the Mad Max one wasn't even like a
little bit.
It wasn't even like a thing that was officially being done. It was just something that somebody else did.
Right, but then there was the big push of like, oh man, this has to come out in theaters. And I just don't understand why slapping a filter on something is trying to prove something to somebody. I mean, I think I'll see it not because it's black and white, because it'll be another chance to see it in theaters. Mm-hmm. But
I'm agreeing with you for the most part, Sam. I do think, though, it's a marketing ploy because it does come out on Blu-ray and DVD on May 23rd, which is a quick turnaround for a popular movie, even by today's standards. But I think it's more of a marketing ploy to remind people, hey, this movie was great. Go out and see it. Let's make a little bit more money off of it. I mean, yeah.
This movie's great.
This movie was great.
And also, there may be something to the desolate wasteland looking better in black and white. Because, I mean, you have Mad Max. It was all desolate desert looking in black and white. And now this, I mean, there's about a third of it that's kind of deserty. Like,
I'm just waiting for Fast 9 to come out in black and white.
Oh, no. It'll be Fast and Furious XXX, and it'll be all about the shadows as he meets each other. Good point. You'll just see them walking up and then merge into one man, because it's almost like it is one man.
It is. It is, in fact, one man.
Great, iconic characters. And they will meet under the shade that is Groot.
I just don't want this to become a...
I apologize to anyone who actually thinks Vin Diesel is a great actor.
I'm not. I'm getting too many scenes in my head of how that will play out. I can't verbalize all of them at once, so I'm just going to pass.
All right, moving on. Moving on. It seems like everything is getting a revival nowadays, and now Roseanne is no different. Yeah, you know that Roseanne revival that you wanted, like Will and Grace and Full House?
Didn't
Well, it's coming, and ABC has already ordered 8 episodes, and Netflix has thrown its hat into the ring as well, trying to get it from ABC.
wait. Is it like a retelling or like a Roseanne the later years? Because
Roseanne
the later
years.
years already have. Didn't that show have a terrible ending?
I'm pretty
Yes,
sure.
so
Yeah, plan this out.
the original ending to Roseanne was that you found out the last 3 seasons or 4 seasons were all Roseanne writing a book. So at some point, and you have to be a Roseanne fan to know it, the actual story, I can't tell you when, though. That's why I'm saying you have to be a fan, because I can't tell you when the moment it happened. It shifts from the actual storytelling to her just writing a book. And, like, that's what we apparently were seeing.
Is that what it was? Because I thought, I thought her husband died, right?
Yes, Goodman died, but then you come to find out that that's why she was writing the book.
So,
That's still pretty
how do you
dumb.
spin that?
I don't know, because John Goodman is also apparently coming back.
Ghost Goodman? Ooh.
Ghost Goodman? I'd watch Ghost Goodman. Doesn't even have to be on Roseanne. I just likes me some John Goodman.
Be Roseanne the Golden Girls years.
I mean,
Just, like,
yes,
super old.
It'll be interesting to see how they do it, because that was just one of the worst endings of all time.
Yeah.
So
Roseanne's also just a Twitter monster now. Like, that's all she does, I think.
Twitter monster.
I don't even know. I haven't even heard from her in years.
She's
so I don't
on
know
Twitter
what
a
she-
lot. Like,
Does she?
that's kind of her thing, is talking about stuff on Twitter. Nah, it's not necessarily good or bad. It's just
That's her thing now.
keeping the brand alive.
There you go. Speaking of revival series, the 1999 vigilante flick Boondock Saints. So Zach McMahon will either be very excited, curse us out, or very upset. We're not quite sure what yet.
Probably all at the same time.
Probably all 3. Is being revived as a TV series called Boondock Saint Origins.
Epic.
So, what? I'm sorry?
I just said that's epic.
Yeah, it's something.
Kidding.
It'll center around the 2 brothers, and it'll, of course, talk about the early days and take place before the events of the first film.
Is anyone returning for this?
No one from the original cast is returning because it is a prequel series.
So this is going to have no real traction.
I mean, the only traction it's going to have is the fact that it is, sadly, Boondock Saints is one of those, and Sam, you can moan and hate me for saying this, cult movie things that I think you're going to have a built-in audience. The question is, how big of the built-in audience will actually tune in?
I agree with you that it's a cult. I mean, there's no denying that it's a cult thing. I just hate the cult. But I think that without those 2 guys playing those characters, I mean, and without Dafoe, it's not gonna cling the same way. I think people will watch a little bit of it, but I don't think it'll ever get traction.
Gotcha. The only person I could see coming back is the older gent, and I can't think of his name right now. The father, the Scotchman.
Billy O'Connolly?
Yeah.
No.
He'd be the only person I could see coming back, because he doesn't have to age or doesn't have to look younger that much.
I could see Dafoe coming back. I've been watching you all along. If Roseanne can tie in dead husband, they can tie in Dafoe
Gotcha.
in some way. Yeah, I'm not super excited about this. I don't know where they'll take it.
Oh, no, I'm not excited about it whatsoever. I am excited, though, about our next story, because it's finally been confirmed. Shyamalan took to Twitter this past week to announce Glass, a sequel to Unbreakable, and another movie that we reviewed recently, is set for January 18th, 2019. And yes, all 4 major characters from both films will be returning.
Booyah.
So that means Bruce Willis is coming back.
Yes.
McAvoy's coming back.
Yes.
Yes.
Jackson's coming back?
Yes.
But the film is called Glass, so it is named after him.
Okay. Who's the other person?
It's
That's coming back?
the lady, the girl.
Oh.
She's a new person. She's new to the game, so I can't remember what her name is. Something Russian, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Keep in mind, the one thing that I do like about this is if you put the names of the movies back to back, it's just Unbreakable Split Glass. For some reason, I like that.
You like that?
Yeah, because they don't tie together at all.
No.
I like that we're not getting like Unbreakable 2 and then Split 2 and then they come together to be Unbreakable Split. I like that it's just names of movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of another instance where that is a thing.
Originally, it was called Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back: Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Star Wars just kind of gets to be in its own realm.
I know. I'm just saying. Originally,
That's a good. No, that's super
Empire
fair.
Strikes
But I
Back.
just can't think of something else. I like that idea because it feels like again we're in a universe, not so much like a series of movies.
Agreed. And I'm excited because maybe, and you could have a really interesting dynamic with Willis's kid who looked up to him so much being neglected, but he may take this potential superhuman under his wing in the girl. So you have that kind of like neglecting father, like to his actual son, but being a mentor to something else. And there's a good drama there, I think, if you do it right.
Yeah, there's that's the thing that's exciting / scary about this. And I think we kind of talked about in our split review a few months back, is that this can go in so many different directions.
Mm-hmm.
It could be amazing. It could also be
Horrible.
So there's so many different ways we could take it. Her name is Anya Taylor-Joy.
There it is.
That's not Russian at all, Sam.
Anya is, I think. Is it
It
not?
Anya is, yeah.
I believe I thought she was Russian.
European. Anya's definitely Eastern European.
She's a lady. She was very good in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Speaking of sequels, here's sequel news that Sam, I'm assuming, is excited about.
I would hope so. I'm
Goldblum
excited.
is returning to Jurassic Park and Jurassic World 2 as the eccentric Dr. Ian Malcolm. I'm reading that, by the way. It's not words.
Oh, yes.
This is the most exciting thing that could have possibly happened to this franchise.
Okay, so
Hands down.
I'll ask you a question. Are you legitimately happy that Goldblum is back, or are you scared Goldblum is back because of what they did to him in Lost World?
No, I think they're righting the ship. Just gonna write that kid out, write that whole thing, get that out of here. No, I'm super excited to have him back because like, what's gonna happen? He's not gonna be great, and then I'll just watch Jurassic Park 1 again and be fine about it. Like, we just got to get over that these new movies are not killing our childhoods. But just the prospect of him being back and the fact that they got him back, that it's super exciting because it's an interesting character. Can you imagine him playing off Chris Pratt?
Oh, yeah.
That makes me so excited.
And not only that, he's now looked to as an authority figure on this, as we saw from the book that everyone was reading in the first Jurassic World. So
He was an authority figure from the first movie. Well, he was a leader in chaos theory.
yeah,
but now he's like an authority in the dinosaur stuff going on.
Yes. So
I would argue he's an authority in all matters.
well, he is the Grandmaster.
I would agree
so.
with you. I'm just getting like a nice little Jeff Goldblum renaissance going on.
In DC news, starting with TV, NBC has pulled Powerless from the schedule with only 3 shows remaining. And why that is so basically surprising is, one, there is only 3 episodes, one of which has apparently Adam West still to guest star in that the network was really promoting. And now all of a sudden they took to Twitter and said, then this is the showrunner. He said, Powerless will not air this week or next week. This I know for sure. I can guess some other things, but they're not good. Thanks for watching.
Sadly, this is kind of something that I wouldn't say we predicted, but a lot of people kind of saw coming. They didn't necessarily. From a lot of the reviews, and I think I watched 1 episode, and I wasn't pleased with it. I think they could have gone a lot of different ways, but a big issue that they had with it is it didn't feel really like a superhero. Like they were in a superhero universe half the time, and they were just like, it was almost a Frankenstein's monster of trying to pull together things from other sitcom like work comedies that worked, and they didn't really create their own identity.
Gotcha.
Which
I think if this show's on 10 years ago, it goes and it works because
this show could have been what Big Bang Theory was.
To a certain extent,
Really
yes.
could've.
One, because we're not oversaturated with the comic book genre as we are today. 2, I think by that flip side, if you have Office and Parks and Rec on in today's television, it gets canceled in its first seasons as well. Those are two shows that are trying to find their footing, and NBC went out on a limb and gave them additional seasons, and they realized what worked from the first season and what didn't, and became a better show. This show is not getting that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, and there's a lot of factors that go into that kind of like what if situation. Yes, people are definitely much more likely to pull the plug on things early now, even than 10 years ago. But I think you're also looking at if Powerless had been out at that time, it could have been a different show based on what my understanding of it is. Like they didn't have these things to pull from. So that's just, there's a lot of things you can think about. But wrong place, wrong time. Is that what you're landing on?
That's what I'm landing on, but that's just my opinion. Everyone's entitled to their own.
Yep, that's why you do a podcast about it.
Yep.
Guys, have you ever wanted to go to Abu Dhabi?
What?
Not until like 3 days ago.
Yeah, so you saw what I'm going to talk about, right?
Yeah, Dad.
Okay, so Garrett, tell us how cool Harry Potter Land was.
It was pretty legit. Oh, I think I know what you're talking
Pretty
about.
legit.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we all know that Star Wars Land is coming to Disney and Disneyland. And even though that's focusing on the new trilogy, I have always wanted to, Star Wars is cool, Harry Potter's nice, but I've always wanted to go to Metropolis and Gotham.
So Six Flags.
No, you haven't. You don't want to go to Gotham. What is wrong with you?
And Warner Brothers Abu Dhabi, which is not a Six Flags theme park. It is a Warner Brothers theme park. Now, I know how you're going to say, how is that different? It's because Six Flags Warner Brothers license out their product to Six Flags, actually.
Gotcha.
It's a grandfathered in contract that they can never pull out of. But these are actual Warner Brothers parks.
Gotcha.
And there's only a couple of them. There's one in Australia. There's none in the United States, but there's one in Australia. There's one somewhere else. And now there's going to be one that's opening next year in Abu Dhabi. And it will have a Gotham City and Metropolis Land. And just the mock-up of it, I'll tell you what, if they get within 75% of this mock-up, these look really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a very exciting thing. I just don't you got to go all the way out there.
Right.
And it's pretty far away. When is it slated to open? Not for several years, I would imagine.
No, next year.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because this was slated to open back in 2007. And they announced this park back in 2007. It was slated to open maybe 4 years ago, and it got pushed off.
Oh,
so now putting on the finishing touches.
60% complete, on track to launch in 2018. I actually just had a friend that went there, and so I will see how financially she swung it, and I am super game if that were to happen. The only thing is I know there's going to be what does it look like? There's Looney Tunes and...
So it's Warner Brothers' thing. So you're going to have Gotham City and Metropolis will be their own areas, and that'll be the DC side of it. But it will also have places such as Cartoon Junction, Dynamite Gulch, and Bedrock, which will incorporate the characters of Bugs Bunny, Scooby-Doo, and Flintstones.
Yeah, I see a Marvin the Martian. I'm kind of cool with it because also I like Looney Tunes. I think just Six Flags was never really for me because I'm a coward and I don't like rides. They make me sick. But if there were rides, if it's more about an immersive experience, which it looked like a lot of the Harry Potter Land was, I wouldn't hate going to a Flintstones immersive world. That's what the draw is for the Simpsons world too. It's not necessarily...
that is cool. I've been to that at Universal. That's really cool.
Yeah, so I could be totally on board with not just the DC side of it, but also the rest of the stuff that they have.
Yeah.
And the Scooby-Doo could actually be really fun if you go through some haunted houses and stuff as well. So
and the one the one I'm looking at, the town, it looks like Marvin the Martian landed in the Old West. So maybe you'll have a Yosemite Sam what is that kind of thing going on? Mm-hmm. So that could be really cool.
What do you think though the challenges though will be, and not just the distance, but this is a theme park, so I would assume you're not speaking English there.
I bet you are. Yeah, I bet you are.
Really? You think so? Because I don't know when it comes to theme parks outside of the United States. Is that a thing? I've always wondered about that.
That's a good question. I'm sure. I'm sure they have to
Disney,
be.
I think there's a Japanese Disney, and there's all these theme parks all over the world. And I've often thought about if I had money one day, just hitting all of these up for fun, because people like to travel to exotic places, and I would just base my exotic vacations around if they had a theme park.
That's an interesting point, though, Joe. I feel like I'm sure there's like some people at the park that work at the park that have to be multilingual, but I feel like it would be whatever is the native language,
which would be Arabic.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing like kind of the way, and this is kind of a thing that Abu Dhabi does seem like they do have their own culture, but they're also big on like implementing Western things, just kind of like spectacles, like the grandeur of it. Which I mean, this theme park is what that is. So I would imagine that it'll be primarily Arabic, but if you walked around and were like, I got to figure this out, you'd be able to figure it out. There would be enough English assistance. Like, I don't think it would be the primary, but I think you would have that naturally like assisted for you.
Cool.
Would be my guess, but I also
maybe
know nothing
a few
about
years.
it.
I'm gonna hit this up and see what it's all about.
Yeah, I'll give it some time for people to test rides and infrastructure and things like that, but then you let me know, Joe. We'll travel.
I mean, it's not too far from Qatar, where the World Cup is still slated to be played in 5 years.
Not going there. I don't even want to fly over that.
Gonna have to.
Never mind.
Coming up, we're going to take a look at the movies from 2000 to 2004. But first, we'll look at the writer's strike here next.
And now for the smooth sounds of Three Wise Radio.
So, if anyone remembers 10 years ago, your favorite TV shows just all of a sudden disappeared back between the months of February and May for, well, yes, a particular reason, and that was because all the writers went on strike. Luckily, they all banded together just in time for the season finales of your favorite shows and put out 5 or 2 or 3 crappy episodes just in time to loosely and shitly wrap up a season. However, that contract that they signed 10 years ago is up as of this podcast. Yes, that's correct. At Sunday night this past week, well, you know what? We record on Sunday, so I'm not sure, but I'm going to call it. The writers went on strike and are walking out as we speak. So we thought we'd take a look back at the strike 10 years ago and take a look at what this strike is about to inform you, because I guarantee you no one is talking about this. Well, I mean, Variety and your major people are talking about it, but none of your major news networks are talking about this yet.
Yeah.
And it's a very real possibility that you're going to sit down in the fall and your favorite TV show is not going to be back, and you're going to want to know why.
Or it's going to suck.
Now, the big thing that you were talking about with this is one situation where we do not escape for the streaming world, correct?
Correct.
That would be,
Correct.
I think, the biggest thing to highlight is that these two are very separate entities, but not with this.
And not anymore. So 10 years ago, and there are South Park episodes on this. There's 2 famous South Park episodes on this. There's the Internet Money episode, and then there's the Canada Goes on Strike episode, where they basically make fun of it. Now, South Park benefited from this last 10 years ago because they are not part of the writers' union. So they were able to still produce new episodes while everyone else was not around.
Yeah.
What that strike was about internet money. But there was no way to track internet money 10 years ago because YouTube was a new thing. And there weren't the Netflix as we know it today. Netflix 10 years ago mailed DVDs to your home and had maybe a handful of titles that you could stream, but were B-list movies that no one cared about anyway.
Did you guys do that?
No.
Yeah, I didn't, but I had a roommate who did. And actually, that's how we watched The Sopranos. We would get a new disc in every month, because it was before HBO had their streaming service.
Yeah. I never did it either.
Back when GameFly was a big thing. That was the one that I did.
I tried that once, and I just didn't stick with it. It's totally derailing Joe.
Yes,
He was building to a glorious finale.
No, you're fine. So internet money was not really a thing, and that's eventually the writers caved after 100 days and came back to work to write an episode or 2 or 5 to wrap up the season storylines. However, now there is actually internet money with Facebook, Google, and other digital players, not to mention Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, all being a part of the times.
Yeah.
The writers are saying that the current agreement, they're not going to renew what's underneath it because it does not include the internet money that's available to them. Also, with the internet streaming services, and we've talked about this before, and we all want to see this, I feel like, rather than your television series going 20 to 22 episodes, now they're going down to 12, 13, and 10, and the writers want to be paid in the same compensation that they would get for a full season, even if the season includes shorter episodes. So the WG estimates that its proposal for a new contract would cost $158 million a year across the media industry. All right. Now, some of these is going to take different hits in different areas. For example, you have places like CBS and Disney are going to eat up $14 million and $18 million. Fox, they want $22 million from. NBC, $15, Sony, $11, Time Warner, $24. And that's where you get to be about $103. Now, where the additional $41 million comes in is with your smaller companies like Netflix, Lionsgate, Amazon, Hulu, and all these other original content that we are now making on, because they want the same agreement to be protected if, say, like you worked for Longmire and we're on A&E for 4 years and then all of a sudden jump to Netflix, or the Mindy Project and we're on NBC, but now you're on Hulu. So they want them to be protected under everything. And also, just for shits and giggles, they want better health care under it as well. So that is what they want, and that is why they're walking out. Now, what does this exactly mean for you, the viewer? Well, if you remember back 10 years ago, shows just basically up and left for no apparent reason. No, well, there was a reason, but people didn't know. Yeah, and they were just trickling away. Now, this doesn't mean that TV shows stop production. If episodes are written, they are produced. But what it means is that your scripted shows no longer get stuff in. And what will be the first shows to walk that you will know, could as early as next week, will be your late night shows. Now, 10 years ago, late night shows actually were not a part of this, because what happened is that Craig Ferguson struck a deal that could make him basically ad-lib his own show late at night. And all the other late night shows followed suit. So Ferguson never left the airwaves because he was like, I'll just go and ad-lib and be an advocate for it, but I will just sit there and keep talking. So because he was actually very scared, because he was a new host at the time, that his show would be canceled if he left the airwaves. So he's like, I'm going to keep the show going so there's at least a job for them to come back to. Same thing then with David Letterman. He came back right away. And then so did Jon Stewart and everyone else. Mm-hmm. However, this time around, they're saying no one's taking that initiative because they know that they're not going to cancel these late night shows. So everyone's going to pretty much vamoose.
I get the need to put up a fight just for the sake of keeping the union on its toes, in terms of we can't just negotiate and fall right over and give them whatever they want, because then they'll just come back with more and more and more. But this doesn't seem like an outlandish sum of money.
No, it's not. And by comparison, if we really want to break it down, the last writer strike cost the California economy a lot of money. I had the actual amount in front of me, but I lost it in all my information that I'm sifting through. Well,
yeah, because it shuts down so much.
Yeah. California was the biggest hit, that took the biggest hit by all this. $2.5 billion.
Damn.
Booyah.
Damn. That was for the last writer strike that lasted from February to April.
The thing that's most is in terms of shows, I get some of the arguments. I think the most interesting one is seasons are now evolving to be shorter. Does that mean there should be a reduced compensation? Or are we paying per season, per episode? How does that shake?
Yeah. Right. And see, that's the thing. Under the current agreement, they're still paid per the episode. The writers want per season now, because they want they want the same job security that they would have on 12 episodes that they would have on 22 episodes. Because now when you're writing for a Netflix show, you're never going to really do 22 episodes. You're only going to do 12. But does this mean you pass up better jobs and better content to be paid less?
I mean, that's the problem you get with, I don't know. It's a sticky situation. I mean, if you know your worth and you're able to say no, we want more money, it makes it so much more difficult when you have the guild, because then each individual is not so much based on skill, if that makes any sense.
Oh, sure.
If you have certain writers that are great writers and they're yeah, we'll pay you as if it were 22 episodes, even though it's 12 episodes, because we know the quality of stuff that you put out and we know the quality caliber of this show. That makes sense. But when it just turns into like a overall like carpeted thing, that's when I think it gets more complicated.
I deserve this just because I'm part of the guild rather than because of my personal merit.
But then that also, like, I get the need to say, like, are you putting out a season of content versus episodes of content? Like, does that mean right now that the writers of Sherlock are getting paid for like 2 episodes?
But the writers of Sherlock are not affected by this.
Yeah, they're also BBC.
Because they're BBC.
Right.
And those are a completely different union over in Britain. This is only for shows that are written and created in America.
Well,
So,
but still, though, he's got a point with that, like,
right.
because that kind of translates over into what we're dealing with, like Netflix now. You know, I don't know. I feel like because they're only requesting, I feel at least the Netflix shows and stuff that I've been watching, you have these big companies like Netflix and Disney and stuff backing them. So I feel like they're still able to get properly compensated for the work that they're doing. They're not getting shortchanged. At least that's what I would feel like, and that I would hope is happening. But as far as like other like television networks, I don't watch enough television anymore to really guess for that.
I mean, I would have to look in the past about like how writers have been mistreated, if that is a thing, or have to see the other side of that argument. But I'm still just an advocate on. I mean, I guess we don't want to get like political or anything, but I'm not a big fan of guilds, like, because I think it just detracts. Like, prove your worth.
It's the starving artist aspect of it. Is when you have 5 or 6 writers working on a show, and they're getting paid set amount of dollars for set episodes on, say, Supernatural. Now, these are all hypotheticals. I don't know how much these shows pay their writers or anything like that. I'm just using them as examples when they come into my head. If you have the writers on Supernatural getting paid so much for certain episodes, but then you have Orange is the New Black getting paid so much for other episodes, and even though Orange is the New Black maybe attracts, based on streaming numbers, more numbers per episode for shorter episodes and gets paid less than Supernatural does because they're doing 23 episodes and have lower numbers, they kind of want a more similar. There's no guide to say, well, are we basing this on viewers? Are we basing this on whatever? It's basically dictated by the companies on what they want to pay you. They just have to meet a minimum standard. And what they're looking for is a new minimum standard for the compensation.
Gotcha.
I mean,
like Major League Sports have this. I mean, if you are a rookie and get brought up to the majors, you make $400,000. That's it. There is no set amount to what you can make, but you're guaranteed to make $400,000.
Right, so they just want to change the minimum. The only problem that I have with changing the minimum is that if you need to increase it across the board or whatever, that's good. But when you start to say that 10 episodes, which is worth this much time, needs to be worth the same as 24 episodes, which maybe takes up more time, or to do, like, I think that's when you get sticky, because those are different things. I think that's the whole reason that you kind of let the capitalism of it kick in. Like, if Orange is the New Black, they pay per episode, and they pay you, let's say $10 an episode, whereas Supernatural, they pay you $10 an episode, so you're making double the money. Netflix's response of that is, we want good writers, thus we will pay more money. Otherwise, you will hire not as good writers, the show will suffer, and then the show will kick down. I mean, that's the whole reason I think the system works.
Yeah.
I want to believe you, and that is a great reason for why capitalism works. I don't know if it applies to entertainment, though, because we've seen so many people watch shitty television, even though, like, writing is bad, stories are bad, and ER goes on for 17 years because it's just a name.
Tell that to Powerless.
Yeah.
But that's in its first season.
Yeah,
Once
but
you
it's
have
got the backing of
show.
DC Comics. It's got the backing of comic books, which are huge right now. Like, I mean, there's going to be instances where things work and where things don't
like
work.
Maybe Arrow or Legends or something like that. That I can understand. Powerless, I honestly feel that not many people who didn't know about DC Comics knew it was a DC show.
I mean, that's fair. I really do think you're going to find instances where both work. To me, that's just the solution. If you want a better product, you find the right people for it, and if the right people want to be paid more money, then you decide if they are worth that value.
I agree. But let's get into how this affects you, the viewer, coming up here. So we talked about late night television. That's probably going to go away here very shortly if a deal is not reached earlier this week. Next is award shows. So there is no award shows right now. The good news about when this contract expired, they were already looking forward to this possibly being a thing and set the date for late May. All the shows for this current seasons are done, they're filmed, they're whatever. So when you're looking at scripted shows or award shows, those really don't come around till the fall, next winter. So it would have to go at this pace, be the longest strike on record to affect any award show. Now, a good example of this is last time there was a strike, though. The one major award show that was done, that was affected by it was the Golden Globes, which basically turned into a press conference on why the writers should be compensated for what they were.
Gotcha.
Next, though, is summer TV. So if you have like American Horror Story or Walking Dead possibly coming up in October or anything else like that, those you could see. Summer TV you could see possibly not finish their seasons. Mm-hmm. Fall TV you can sit there and may not debut now. Your September debuts may not debut now until November or possibly later. Because, for examples, shows that come out in September are written in early June, made in July, and come out in September for your first couple episodes. Basically what it does is they use the summer to build up that bank, so by the time they are working on 7 and 8 and are working on scripts for 10 and 11, they can basically it's a built-in time. So if you watch a show from September through May, it's actually being written between July and March, and it's being produced between June and March, and it's being produced between July and April. Mm-hmm. So it gives you that time built in because not everything is South Park. You don't write it, make it the week of to watch it. It takes time to actually.
Well, you should. God damn it.
So you're possibly going to see some shows debut a little bit later. Now, for your Netflix shows, one of the major ones they're talking about is Jessica Jones will probably be pushed back now because of this. The second season of Jessica Jones is being the first major show they're saying will suffer from this.
I mean, do you consider getting pushed back suffering?
Yeah.
Especially when you are an internet show, all you have is your target date. It's kind of like a movie, especially the way we consume it. It comes out this day, people go and binge it, boom. So it's no different than a movie being pushed back, a couple months or a year. Sometimes that affects it, sometimes it doesn't. We don't really know yet. This is going to be basically your test for it.
Complicated stuff. I would not use the losing of award shows as one of your key linchpins to why we should get this thing done, because I think that.
No, I was just giving you different.
Oh yeah,
examples.
I know. I'm just saying that I believe 90% of people will be like, they aren't going on anymore. Great.
The only one that would still get notoriety, sadly, even though I didn't want it, would be the Oscars, just because I think it's ingrained in American culture that you may not watch it, but that would get your attention if you noticed that it didn't air, I think. And people would be like, why didn't it air?
I'd agree with
Devastating.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's complicated, for sure. I don't know whose side I really land. I mean, I think you can always look at it's been 10 years since the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can renegotiate, but if it does come to a thing where there's an outlandish, I mean, honestly, I don't care. Like if my shows, I'm at the point now where there's no show that if I don't get it immediately, I'm gonna suffer.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, though. With internet television, I have a bank of shows that I've always wanted to watch that now I have at the tip of my fingers at Netflix. This isn't 10 years ago where Smallville and Supernatural go off the air and have a shortened season, and I'm going, what am I going to watch?
Yeah.
Now, I've got so many choices to watch through.
Well, also, we kind of talked about it a couple weeks back when we were talking about Netflix shows and how they don't have. It's not like television where it's just it comes back on this date and ends on this date. It's just it comes out whenever we're done with it and ready for it to come out again. Yeah. So I don't know how much this is going to impact really on internet shows because they set their own release date anyways.
And even HBO's starting to do that. Westworld is not coming out next year anyway already.
Yeah.
Or I mean this year. It's not coming out till 2018. So you have, a lot of things. Don't worry, Game of Thrones fans, you're still going to get your damn show. It's coming out in July. That's already made.
Woo! The big thing that sucks is that then they will just what's coming is they will say, well, it's the part that sucks the most is for the people that are like the crew.
Yeah.
Like the craft services, like those people that just have regular jobs and they get shit on while this whole thing's going on, and then both sides of the party are like, you're shitting on the little guy by not sealing this deal, and the other party's like, well, you're shitting on the little guy for not signing this deal. Meanwhile, the little guy is just
like,
being rained on with shit.
Yeah, can I get a 3 Ys with onions and give me some extra ketchup?
You want onions on it?
Yeah, extra onions.
Okay, so I want onions.
Yeah, the 3 Ys.
Yes, alright.
But we do love the 2000s, and now, keeping in pace with our We Love the 90s series, we're going to take a look at cinema and, well, your childhood and favorite toys and whatnot from the years 2000 to 2004. Now, I remember 2000 to 2004. It was a coming-of-age time for me. I was 12 to 17 and going to the theaters just about every week, basically, to watch movies. How about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think you touched on it. That's the age where movies became like an event, like because that was a cool way to get away from the parents for a little while and go to the arcade. Or it definitely wasn't like a family thing. It was a good way to I'm trying to put it more eloquently, but it was a good way to socialize with other kids.
Yeah,
I think this was the first kind of stages of that.
I don't know what kids do today. This is going to show you how old we are now and how out of touch I guess we are. But what do kids do today? Because back in the 80s, it was go to the mall. In ours, it was go to the movie theater.
I think they go to Starbucks and then walk around with their phones.
Yep, that's exactly what they do.
Dang.
Or
Because
they'll go
for us, I was a theater rat. I would be dropped off at the movie theaters, go see a movie, maybe two, eat there, play video games there, and then you get picked up 5 hours later.
Honestly, it's a lot of, or at least in my personal experience, especially living right across the street from the school there, 3 or 4 hours after school's out, there's still kids just hanging out at Jewel Osco. Yeah. It's just what are you doing?
A local grocery store.
Yeah.
Grocery store chain in Chicago, yes.
It's just somewhere where you can buy something and sit there.
Yep.
You can buy something cheap and sit there for a while, which I guess is a similar thing to what the movies were, but
Yeah.
still.
All right, let's take a look at some of our favorite movies from the year 2000. Garrett, what are some movies that you have that you think were great from the year 2000?
X-Men.
Yes,
original
the
X-Men.
X franchise is this old.
It's the birth.
Oh, I remember seeing that in theaters as well. I think it was a July release. So cool. Not by today's standards, but back at the time, I thought it was the coolest thing.
Didn't see it in theaters.
And this is when Fox and everything would still have a half-hour special for major releases.
Yeah.
Watching that half-hour special.
I didn't really watch a lot of these movies whenever they came out. This is all
How
after
dare
this.
you? Oh, okay.
I didn't go to the movies a lot. This was not. That was just something I didn't do because the nearest movie theater was in Cape, so that was a 45-minute drive to go watch a movie.
Yikes.
I didn't have a car, so
Damn, I didn't know that. That sucks.
Yeah, there's not too many movies that I saw off the 2000 list in theaters, but there are a lot of great movies from the.
This is the greatest year for historical movies in the world.
I'm pretty sure my movie theater or my town didn't get a movie theater until 2002.
Damn.
And even still, it was kind of just nothing on. It was just kind of
later releases.
Later releases, yeah.
Keep in mind, this is the year that Gladiator and The Patriot came out.
Yes.
The two greatest historical movies of all time.
Now, I didn't see Gladiator till a year later. But I know that movie was huge. Like my grandfather sent me. It's one of my favorite movies, just because it's the last movie I watched with my grandfather. He invited me over, sat me down. He's like, "I saw this in theaters, and you'll love it, and it's the greatest thing ever." And like, it was really cool. But I'd never see my grandfather excited for a movie like that. So, but yes, The Patriot as well. I remember seeing that. Sam, what other movies do you have?
Other movies, for me, I tried to think of smaller scale movies that aren't so big, but I think were still really impactful. Let's remember that as much as they are a joke now, the original Scary Movie
Yes,
was hilarious.
Yeah.
I
The original
loved that
two
movie.
were good, I would say
What's that?
the first two were good. Even
Yeah. But conceptually, it was new. That whole element was amazing. Another big one for me was American Psycho.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I didn't see until much later because I
I
was
first
12
saw
at the
that
time.
probably 4 or 5 years later, edited down like at 10 in the morning on USA when I was home during the summer.
Let's see, and the other ones, the other two that I'll mention, there's so many on this list, but the other two that I'll mention, Remember the Titans, the greatest I'm in class, let's watch a movie film of all time,
I saw that in theaters.
made me a better man, and the first time I ever fell in love, 2000's Bedazzled.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Elizabeth Hurley in that movie, stunning. Brendan Fraser, also stunning.
That is a good one. So I'm gonna run through a couple of them. Some are favorites of mine. Others, like Requiem for a Dream, not so much because it's just disturbing.
Heard of that,
So
never
disturbing.
Saw it.
I still have not seen it to this day.
I think it's something you don't need to see.
Oh, you need to watch. I have never felt more depressed. I saw that like in college, and someone's like, "You have to watch this movie," and I have never felt more depressed after watching a movie than the end of Requiem for a Dream. Like,
I don't want to watch it now.
You feel really bad as just a human being.
That doesn't mean you need to see it.
Yes, it does.
I don't like
Because it means the film did something that I've never had another film do. Like, I've never experienced that with any other film. Just having this like you know how like when you were young and like you knew you did something wrong and you're like, oh, that was bad. I shouldn't have done that. Like, I got that feeling from watching this movie.
I don't like that whole saying of like, oh, you've got to experience the lows to appreciate the highs in life. Like, that's true, but it doesn't mean you have to actively pursue the lows.
No, I'm not talking about. To me, it was a movie experience that
I've
I've never
experience for you.
Yeah, I've never duplicated with any other film.
Okay.
Some other movies, Castaway, of course, came out in 2000. Wilson, one of the greatest side characters to never say a line. Then there's High Fidelity, a favorite of mine with John Cusack. And the Guy Ritchie film that basically put him on the map. Yes, he had Lock, Stock, but Snatch is really what made him a star. Also, there's Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Me, Myself, and Irene. And the favorite, yes, we saw this in theaters, Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yes. A lot of talent there.
I remember that trailer, and it was like the time it takes you to get your popcorn. Like the time it took you to wait in line for your movie ticket. So many seconds and minutes. Like the time they took to steal your car. 60 seconds. And like the trailer kicks in, and I'm like, yeah! Oh, so good.
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou was the first time I remember that my parents sent me out of the room during a movie.
Really?
Yeah. That's the first time that I can remember it. 'Cause usually I think they would already put me away, but I think it was when the sirens started happening in the river, and they're like, you need to go.
There are a bunch of other movies that I can name, but I'll just name the last one because I think it's a personal favorite of Sam and mine's. Final Destination also came out in 2000.
Start of greatness.
So the top 10 movies for this year. And guys, number one, I didn't mention it, even though it is on my list of favorite movies, because number one this year, so great. So number 10, What Lies Beneath, the Harrison Ford. Who is he with in that movie?
Kate Blanchett.
No, but you know what I'm talking about. It's like where he's dating the woman, and like Scary Movie parried this in the
Foster.
second one, where he's like dating he's not like he had an affair or something, and he keeps seeing like his mistress like combine with his wife or something like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not Jodie Foster at all.
Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, that's who it is. That grossed $291 million. X-Men, the only superhero movie on this list, comes in at number 9 at $296 million back then. Then there's George Clooney being the powerhouse that he was in the early 2000s with The Perfect Storm, grossing $328 million. Meet the Parents at $330 million. How the Grinch Stole Christmas at $345 million. A movie called Dinosaur by Disney. I'm blanking completely on this film,
I don't know anything about that either.
but that grossed $349 million. What Women Want. Mel Gibson has not gone off the deep end yet, so he's still making money with Helen Hunt at $374 million. Castaway at number 3 with $429 million. Gladiator at number 2 with $457 million. And the movie that outgrossed Gladiator and all the other films, Mission Impossible 2 at $546 million. The best Mission Impossible film ever.
Joe, you can't beat that hair.
You can't. And you can't beat Doves, you can't beat Gun Fu, and you can't beat John Woo.
Motorcycle
Let's
Gun
just
Fu.
all appreciate the gloriousess that is that second film.
All right.
Soundtrack by Limp Bizkit.
It had all of the perfect elements.
For the year 2000, yes, like this movie was basically like, you know, when you would see back then where it was jokingly like, oh, computer 2000, or, you know, everything like had the word 2000 after it. This
Yes.
was like film 2000.
2000.
Like,
Yeah. This perfectly reflects the time.
yes. Oh, it does.
That's
and it is
fantastic.
glorious. Sam, what were the top toys for the year 2000?
Hottest toy, we're just going to go one and done. The hottest toy of the year 2000, Razor Scooter.
Oh,
Really?
I do remember those.
Dude, that was the hotness in the day.
I never
'Cause I
had
remember
one.
I wanted a Razor Scooter so bad for Christmas. My brother and I did, and I believe I can't remember the name of it, but we got an off-brand name, and it was called like Stride Scooters. And our parents told us that was Santa's special brand that he made just for us.
And you bought it.
That's awesome.
Well, they bought it.
Well, you
We
you
played
bought
with
into it though.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. But yeah, dude, scooters were the thing for maybe not a long time, but for a little
Few
bit.
years. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that very vividly. All right, the year 2001. Garrett, what are some of your top movies from 2001?
Shrek, man.
Yeah.
Shrek came out.
Straight up Shrek.
Just Shrek. No. So I mean, Shrek was a great movie though. But this is where you also see some pretty big, fantasy stuff coming to life with Lord of the Rings. You
Yep.
got Harry Potter. That's really the big two for me. Was the first installments of both of those franchises.
Sure.
Had Donnie Darko, which was all right. Ended up watching. This is also, I think, the year you get Wes Anderson's first movie.
I think so. It's
Yeah.
the Royal Tenenbaums, I believe.
Yeah.
Great movie. Just kidding.
And A Beautiful Mind, which was still to this day one of my favorite movies.
It's a strong movie.
Yes, it is. Sam, what you got
I
for
had
us?
listed in a similar vein. This is the start of a lot of franchises, but I think, despite Dark Knight and the things that went around with that, this is Heath Ledger's best role in A Knight's Tale.
Yes, it
Oh,
is. Yes, it is.
Fantastic
Oh.
movie.
You want the only time I will ever sit down and stop what I'm doing to watch something medieval.
And then I will put that this is two wildly underappreciated movies came out this year. In the horror, Jeepers Creepers.
Yep.
And then in the, I don't even know what you would classify this as, sci-fi, Evolution with David Duchovny.
Oh. Yeah, which was kind of like a loose remake of Ghostbusters almost to a certain extent.
Yeah, kind of, but with a giant alien blob. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then, of course, one of the best comedies of all time, Zoolander.
Yes.
The only blemish, Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
A little whoopsie-daisy for 2002.
We,
Sorry,
we
2001.
it took another like 10 years, but they finally got it right.
So you
but
would
I
argue
remember
that they needed this to happen.
Yes, I remember being so excited for this film because I was watching all the old Planet of the Apes. So like, well, we didn't even mention, speaking of the start of some franchises, the
Oh,
Fast and the Furious and Ocean's 11 also came out in the year 2001. There is also Training Day, of course.
Never saw it.
It's a great film. Training Day is actually a really good film.
I mean, I believe it. Was it Best Picture?
No, but Denzel won for Best Actor.
There it is.
The Mummy Returns. Not as good as the original, but I remember it being a big deal when it came out. There's
That's on my
also
list. I just didn't want to clog up my time with it. Great sequel.
yes, and then there is also, of course, American Pie 2, which is another great sequel. The last good American Pie film, in my personal opinion. Jurassic Park 3, because at this point, franchise and sequel are becoming a thing. Ali, Swordfish, which is possibly one of my favorite Hugh Jackman films.
Is that where he's a
And-
hacker?
Yep. Oh, I'll watch
That's got
that
some
all the time.
That's got some interesting scenes in it.
Oh, yes, it does. And then there's a movie called Don't Say a Word, where we made fun of this movie so much when it came out because it's Michael Douglas and Brittany Murphy, and it's that one where she's in the room, she's like, I'll never tell.
Oh, yeah.
We would just make fun of that nonstop.
I think Scary Movie 2 also made fun of it. Quite
Yes,
a bit as well.
they did. So we will give you the top 10, although we mentioned a lot of these, and a lot are parts of franchise. They're either first installments or they are sequels in their own right, like number 10, Hannibal, at $351 million. Worldwide gross, Planet of the Apes, people went to go see it because they thought it was going to be good, $362. Jurassic Park 3, $368. Mummy Returns, $433. Because Pearl Harbor sucks. Pearl Harbor at $449 million
Terrible. Garbage movie.
that year. I've never seen
I
it.
loved that movie. As a kid, I haven't watched it again since I've gotten older and started to learn how to appreciate
You
films.
loved it as a kid?
Yeah.
It didn't have anything to do with it. It was just these two people on a boat.
It was Ben
No.
Affleck on a boat.
I didn't
There's
care.
more
for
than that.
it. I mean, yeah, there was some violence, but I think it kind of, I don't know, didn't address the whole historical side of it as much as I wanted it to.
Right. Ocean's 11, Shrek, Monsters, Inc.,
Mm-hmm.
Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring comes in about 100 million shy of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, worldwide gross $974 million.
Yep.
So, Sam, the top toy from 2001.
Top toy, we're going to the ladies, just because I think this was a big, not a historical thing, but something of note. Do you remember Bratz dolls?
Yes.
This was the first year that something surpassed Barbie as the number one selling toy geared towards specifically girls.
It was Barbie with attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was
To get-
also a good amount of concern with parents saying that the dolls were overly provocative.
Yes, I remember that as well. But to give you an idea of how much Bratz is ingrained in our age group's culture, I was at a girl's birthday last night, and she loved the Snapchat filter she had because it made her look like a brat. One of the brat dolls.
No.
That's that's great. Happy birthday to her.
Moving on to 2002 now. Garrett, what are some of your favorite movies from 2002?
All right, 2002, Spider-Man, top of the list right there.
I mean, Defoe,
Yeah,
of course,
exactly. We've talked about this several times. Just Defoe.
on the podcast. yeah.
This is the birth of Spider-Man in film. So it was great. It was great. Had Two Towers, which is arguably the best of the three Lord of the Rings movies.
Arguably.
What else? Got Lilo and Stitch. Got The Ring.
This was a big year for horror.
Yes, it was.
Road to Perdition.
Still
Ooh.
not seen that.
I just watched it about a few months ago. Good movie. Good movie. Could have done without the ending a little bit, but for the most part, I'd say 95% great movie. Sam, some of yours from 2002.
The Ring, but also 28 Days Later. One of the
Yes.
best zombie movies ever. Those two movies kind of really sculpted what I enjoy in horror. A good amount, besides like the slasher movies. So that was big for me. And then the other two that I had, two great action movies: Minority Report
Mm-hmm.
and Equilibrium with Christian Bale
Of course.
and Taye Diggs.
Yes.
And a little boy. and a
So
puppy.
there's lots of big name movies that we didn't mention because I'll get to them in the top 10 list. So I'll just hit on the ones that are of note that I remember being a big deal. Chicago came out that year, which was a
Yeah.
really big deal as far as musicals go. 8 Mile with Eminem. And if
Brittany
you
Murphy.
weren't singing that song that was attached to it, I don't know what you were doing back then. There's also Die Another Day. I'm just saying because it's the only time we'll mention a Bond film during this entire segment.
I think that's all we need to say about that one.
Yep. Oh, good for other reasons. Resident Evil came out that year as well. And then this is the start of what we know as soccer to a certain extent, and it's why you know his name. Bend It Like Beckham came out that year.
What an interesting movie. Has nothing to do with David Beckham.
No, nothing. Equilibrium, a fan favorite, also came out that year as well.
Of course.
So, the top 10 films, though, of this year. Number 10, Minority Report.
That's such a good movie.
Oh yeah.
Number 9, this is huge because it was an independent release, and I'll admit I got drugged to see it. I saw it in theaters. My Big Fat Greek Wedding came in at number 9.
Our sister podcast just did an episode where they saw the sequel to it.
Oh, they finally saw it.
Yeah, and it was everything you thought it would be.
Number 8, Ice Age. Number 7, saw this one in theaters as well, Signs. Number 6, Die Another Day, because Bond does make money. 5, Men in Black 2 came out in this year. Of course, if there's a Star Wars movie, it's going to make the top of the list. Number 4, Attack of the Clones. Number 3, Spider-Man. Number 2, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. And finally outdoing it was Lord of the Rings at 926 million worldwide.
Finally, they just both released their first installments the year before.
Hey, I'm saying finally, damn it.
He's also looking into the future because it's going to be on the top of the list like every single year,
Yes.
which sucks. They're good movies. I don't know what I'm complaining about.
Top toy from 2002,
Oh,
Sam.
baby. I got into this market without having any idea what it was. Were any of you a big fan of Beyblades and the spinning top
yes.
world?
Oh yes.
No.
That was a big deal, and I have no idea how it happened. Are you familiar with it, though, Joe?
No, I'm not.
Oh, my God.
It was essentially like Pokemon, but instead of using a Pokemon, it was like a little
Top.
It was a top, like in the anime, anyways. And it was like you would release the top, and there would be like these whole like little dioramas set up of little towns or like little areas, arenas, and then they would fight. And it turns out that like certain Beyblades had spirits in them, and then they would just make it more powerful, and it was so dope.
I never watched any of the shows, so when you play it, Joe, essentially what it is you can buy a big plastic like bucket, like it's like a big half sphere, and then you have a Beyblade, which is essentially kind of like remember Robot Wars? Like some of them have like little spikies on them, or some of them are sleek, is shaped differently, and then you put them in like a little cranker, and you pull it, and two people's Beyblades tops just hit each other, and whichever one lands, like dies first, loses. Looking back on it, it seems like it was a mistake for me, financially and just spiritually.
You're at the age now where you're starting to have your own money a little bit, too.
A little bit. Beyblades.
Oof. All right, on to 2003. Garrett, what is some of your movies from 2003?
In 2003, Joe, you get Peter Pan, the live-action Peter Pan. I really enjoyed that movie. With Jason Isaacs as Hook. We get the first Kill Bill. We get the first Pirates of the Caribbean.
I saw that movie 4 times in theaters.
Kill Bill or Pirates?
Pirates.
Oh. You get Finding Nemo, which was fantastic. And then Holes,
Yeah.
which leads into what we now know of Shia LaBeouf.
You didn't see that coming from this movie.
Oh, no.
You did not see that coming from this one.
Sam, what are some notable releases for you?
A lot of them, actually. Early 2000s, really good horror movies that just, I think, I really liked Dreamcatcher, the Stephen King. It's Stephen King, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We also had School of Rock. Garrett, I'm sorry, I
saw
totally
that.
blanked on what you said. So I apologize if I'm repeating. This is the start of Kill Bill, which was a really big deal. Did you say Underworld?
I did not. I should have.
Underworld. Man, those movies, they're garbage now, but
Oh, back in 03, I remember the trailer. I thought it was going to be great.
so much
And what?
leather.
Yeah.
Some would argue too much leather, but I would disagree. We also had Freddy vs. Jason, which was a horrible / wonderful disaster.
Oh, that's a wonderful disaster. I snuck into that one.
I
And
was
did
brought
not
in by
regret.
my father. We were on vacation in Kansas City. He and my Uncle Bill, like, let's go see a movie. How about this one? So it's a little insight into my childhood. And then the last one of the best, worst movies ever, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, yes. The film that ended Sean Connery's career.
Quite literally.
It could have
Yes.
it could have been a rebirth for him, but I think
Could've-
he opted out.
For those that aren't aware, and I'm sure a lot of people are aware of the story, Sean Connery does League of Extraordinary Gentlemen because he passes off. He passed on Gandalf in Lord of the Rings, and that was
Right
turning into a
decision.
huge deal.
Right
And
decision.
like, I didn't understand the Lord of the Rings script, so I didn't do it. I didn't understand the script, so I did it. And clearly,
I
he
think
is
that was
lost.
good for the world, though, because Sean Connery as Gandalf is
Wouldn't have made sense.
it's just not good. Keep it
You
secret.
shall
Keep it
not
safe.
pass.
Keep it what? Keep it secret. The wizard's late. A wizard arrives and he's, "Are you drunk?" No.
How did my robes turn white? I'm not confused. Some movies I saw in theaters. The worst superhero movie of all time, and I'm standing by this. Hulk. You know what does
absolutely
not
the
make a
worst.
good superhero movie? Making the movie look like a comic book, with having different panels moving at different times.
Good for them for
also,
trying.
both Matrix movies came out this year. Reloaded and Revolutions. Too Fast, Too Furious came out. And I will always remember this because I tried to talk to someone later being like, they're like, when did we meet? I'm like, well, I saw Too Fast, Too Furious with you. And they responded with, do you know how many times I've seen that movie? Christ. Okay. Some other notable sequels, Bad Boys 2, Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, X-Men 2. Let's not forget the disaster that was Daredevil as well. That was awesome. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the reboot, came out
Good
that
reboot.
year. Then, Sam, I'll mention this last one because of you. The Lizzie McGuire movie came out this year as well.
Guilty pleasure. Damn, that's a
2000.
great movie. Gordo
Hey.
finally gets the kiss
Yep.
the world's been waiting for.
I mean, I'll admit it because a guilty pleasure of mine from this year, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I actually enjoy that movie. Saw it in theaters. I enjoy it. The top 10 for this year. Bad Boys 2 at number 10. X-Men 2 at number 9. Matrix Evolutions at number 8. Terminator 3 came in at
Still
number...
no original movies.
Yep. This last one was original. The Last Samurai.
There you
came in
go.
at number 6. I actually enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Bruce Almighty came in at number 5.
Okay.
Pirates of the Caribbean came in at number 4. Matrix Reloaded at number 3. Finding Nemo number 2. And we get our first $1 billion worldwide gross on these lists. Lord of the Rings Return of the King at $1.1 billion worldwide.
That movie won all the awards.
Yes, it did. Sam, top toy of 2003.
I pulled 2. One for fun. Do you guys remember this was kind of, we're starting to get into the world of robotics. Does anybody
Yeah.
remember / unable to acquire the Robo Sapien? It's like a little white robot man that would walk and he could do like some really basic functions.
Yeah.
Sold
Actually,
1.5 million units from April to Christmas. Wow. And nobody was able to get their hands on it. On the other side, let's remember that good things do come from horrible things. Although Ang Lee's Hulk was maybe not the best thing in the world, it did birth the first Hulk fists.
Yes, you're right.
If anybody remembers those, beating the crap out of your friends with those, fantastic. And those are the good ones too, because safety wasn't as big of a concern, which I think is important for a kid, because they were firm, and they had like a nice bar in them that you could actually hit people with. Now they sell them in their like little foam. You can't really do anything with them. You might as well be pillow fighting. But those first ones were big and brutal.
Yes, they were.
I remember beating up my brothers a lot with that one.
Let's move on now to 04, the last year in our series for this week. Garrett, what are some movies from 04 for you?
So one of my big ones was The Incredibles. I
Yeah.
would honestly put The Incredibles as as probably my top Pixar movie. Like, I just really loved that movie. The soundtrack, the story, and the comedy and everything. This is also when I was starting to get old enough to like really appreciate not quite more adult humor, but just kind of more less childish humor.
Sure.
Yeah. You get Dodgeball,
Yes.
which is fantastic.
Saw that
Um,
theater.
Shaun of the Dead, Hellboy, and Van Helsing.
Mm.
You stole all of mine. You rat bastard. Not
Then
all
I
of
guess
them, that's not
I'll
true.
go.
I've got a few.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Well, one that I won't steal from you. I'll let you do that one.
You better steal it because who knows what I'll pick.
I know one that you will pick for this. It's a guarantee for 2004. So the two that I did not have on that list, Troy, incredible movie.
Yep.
That was so good because Brad Pitt has never been more of a bronze god than he was in that movie. And then not one of my favorite movies, a really good, Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Great movie.
I saw it in theaters. A lot of people did.
I wouldn't even qualify that as a guilty pleasure, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mean Girls is something that everybody's pretty aware of and really enjoyed. Nobody really knocks that movie.
Yeah.
So, not even a guilty pleasure.
That never happened.
And then I will go ahead and give it to you, Joe, and hope that you don't blow this.
I'm going to blow it. Just going down the list of movies that I'm seeing right now that come to mind. I'm going to start with an interesting one, but Phantom of the Opera, just because of Emmy Rossum and Gerard Butler as the Phantom.
Back when he was a thing.
Yep, and musical. That was actually an interesting one. Then there's also Tom Jane's Punisher, which was a great film. You know what? I still love that movie. I wish he would have done the sequel. It's a very good film. There's also, Sam, we'll say this for you, I, Robot, because of the whole Shia LaBeouf love. And, of course, you just loving swaggy Will Smith with robots.
It was, yeah. He still had some of his swag. He had a robot arm. He was Jax from Mortal Kombat. But it was real low-key, which was great.
Alien vs. Predator came out in the year 2004 also.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it did.
National Treasure.
Oh, my God. I missed a lot of movies on this.
I know, right?
Is a national treasure.
Exactly.
National Treasure is maybe the last great Nicolas Cage film, and the fact of it's actually a really, really, really good movie.
Oh, yeah.
So there's also Passion of the Christ. Growing up in a Catholic school, I remember that being a big deal and everyone having to go see it. And then The Butterfly Effect is also just a weird, weird, weird movie that came out in 2004 that, well, I remember coming out. Sam, I guarantee I didn't hit whatever you thought I was going to hit.
Team America, man.
That was not mine. What's one of the greatest horror movies of all time / franchises, Joe?
Oh,
What if
Saw
we made
they
this?
used
There
it
you
up
go.
for.
Saw.
Yeah, I completely blanked out because I don't go see Saw. The original Saw is
What's
the
that?
one. Saw
You don't go
movie.
see Saw?
No, the original Saw was the only Saw movie I did not see in theaters. I saw all the rest in theaters, but I would have just turned 17 right before it, and instead I'm with a bunch of 16-year-olds, so we can't get into Saw, so we go see The Grudge instead.
It's a good movie.
Huge mistake.
It's a good movie.
Huge. Top 10 films from 2004, though. Ocean's 12 at number 10. Shark's Tale at number 9. Troy at 8. Meet the Fockers at number 7. This is back when disaster films were still huge. The Day After Tomorrow at number 6. Passion of the Christ at number 5. The Incredibles at 4. Spider-Man 2 coming in at number 3. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban at number 2. And outgrossing them all, Shrek 2 at $919 million.
Forget that made so much money.
Yes, it did. Sam, top toy from 2004.
Interestingly enough, so not a new toy, but for some reason or another, one of the hottest toys for that year, if you can call it a toy, much to many parents' dismay, outdoor trampolines.
Really?
Yeah. One of the hottest selling toys, along with Barbie reclaiming the crown from Bratz, as well as TV licensing toys becoming very big. But I thought the fact that trampolines, for some reason, became an incredibly popular item, I thought that was quite interesting. But I remember around that was also around the age for me where, like, my buddies had a trampoline and I never had one. So it was always like, hey, dude, let's go jump.
Yeah,
Trampoline's been
remember
around
that
for
too.
like 100 years, if not more. But for the outdoor, the classic, like, 10-foot or, like, 15-foot trampoline apparently is a very big year for that.
All right, real quick, because we're running long on this episode. let's pick the top year for this half a decade basically. What do you guys have? What's standing out to you guys as the best year?
This is so difficult. Garrett knows. I know Garrett knows for sure.
Garrett, what do you got?
I would honestly have to say 2002.
Interesting.
2002 would be my choice.
I just wiped 2002 off my board.
So 2002, you had the 28 Days Later, Equilibrium, Transporter. You also
Ring.
had Resident Evil, We Were Soldiers, Halloween Resurrection. You had Men in Black 2, Die Another Day, Harry Potter, Road to Perdition, 8 Mile, Ring.
You just gonna list all of them for each year? Let's not do that.
No, I'm just saying.
I mean, because we had all those movies that we talked about. There was also movies that I didn't want to talk about, but not necessarily like I just didn't want to mention it at the time. But I mean, like a lot of the movies on this list that I'm looking at that came out this year, I have seen multiple times. Catch Me If You Can, Lilo and Stitch, The Pianist, Scooby Doo, Star Wars Episode 2. I honestly loved that one out of the entire prequel trilogy. That one was my favorite. Like, yeah, Episode 3 had better like lightsaber fights and shit, but like I enjoyed number 2.
No, we understand.
Couldn't tell you why, but it's just like it's on a pedestal in my book above the other two. Treasure Planet was another movie I liked. Like a lot of movies that came out this year, I just really enjoyed, and I distinctly remember enjoying them.
Sam?
I am torn between 2000 and 2003. I wish that there was one more movie that I liked in the year 2000.
I'm going straight up 2000. That's the best one by far to me, because literally I'm looking at this list, and not only have I seen every movie on this list, I enjoy just about every movie on this list. You have Unbreakable, Almost Famous, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Memento. You also have movies that I've seen that aren't great, but just nostalgically are so bad they're good, like The Cell. You also have The Patriot and The Beach, and
you know what?
Pitch
I'll agree
Black.
with you. 2000, The Patriot, where you found that no man can quiver his lip quite like Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
It's been almost 20 years to the day, and
No
one has yet to meet that feat. So you're right. I'll give it to 2000. Dude, when his son dies, that lip. God.
Who plays his son in that one?
Josang Bale. Yes, get out on this segment. That lip. Oh,
Are you sure?
Heath Ledger plays his son too.
Yeah,
what?
Heath Ledger plays the son.
Who did I
Yeah.
say?
No, you didn't say anyone. You just said when his son dies.
Which one? He loses two sons.
Yeah.
I know Ledger was the old one who died, so.
Oh, because oh, man. The
Great
best
movie.
line in movie history is still, yeah, fuck you too. But the Patriot at the very end, when he stabs that evil Brit with a flag, and then he
Isaacs.
says, "My sons were better men." Oh, man. Fucking America. You're swelling with patriotism. You're swelling with pride as a man for family. Oh, my God.
All right.
I don't. We're not recording, right?
No, we are recording.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Man.
stop it there. We're going to end it there. As usual, we end every episode with What's Piquing Our Interest, where we just say what's piquing our interest. Garrett, what's piquing your interest this week?
What's piquing my interest this week is, I know we kind of talked about it last week, but our Cosplayer of the Month feature. We have gotten some good interaction with that, and we will be picking a winner soon in the next 10 minutes, as soon as we finish recording this. So, but yeah, I'm just excited to kind of get that ball rolling. So,
Absolutely. Sam, what's piquing your interest this week?
Oh, well, unfortunately for me, piquing my interest is that, as much as I hate to say it, the NFL draft has taken place this week, and it, as it always does, got me excited for football, even though it is still so far away. So, really excited for that to get going. I'm starting to feel it again. And now I just got to wait several months until I can actually start watching. So, bummer.
Yeah, it is a shame. What's piquing my interest this week? We've talked about this on the cast already also before, but The Circle. I'm so excited to see Tom Hanks as a legitimate straight-up villain for the first time in his career.
Oh, yeah.
And if he not, curse them for making the trailer look like he is. This movie really intrigues me so much.
I know. I'm gonna.
Have you seen the reviews?
Yes.
They're bad.
Are they?
They're bad.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that people are saying is like this movie isn't as good as it thinks it is.
Right.
Oh.
Which I could totally see. Yeah.
I think they try and probably force a message at you a little bit too much.
Yep.
And there's some bad direction as well. But I'll tell you what, man, they've sold me on the fact of Tom Hanks. Just, I don't know what that says about me and Tom Hanks, but I want to test our likability actor. I want to test and see if he's really the most likable actor, even when he's playing a bad guy.
We'll find out.
As usual, though, you can talk to us on social media.
Sorry, I kind of like screwed you over there with that just like segment with the segue there.
Yeah, that's okay. But you can always contact us on social media. Hey, if you want to be part of the Cosplayer of the Month campaign that we're going to start here, you can do it by talking to us on social media and sharing the post and telling us and answering the questions.
Yeah, let me clarify on that. We have picked we're getting ready to pick our winner for May. But this is kind of just like an ongoing thing. If you want to be featured, just message us. Like this, I guess, contest per se is done for now. But if you want to be featured, by all means, just give us a shout out, reach out to us, and we'll get all that taken care of. Okay, cool.
Yes, we're constantly
Yeah.
accepting entries for future months.
Yes.
Always accepting entries. But you can do that by basically looking us up on social media, and you can do that at Facebook at 3Wise Media. You can find us on Instagram at 3Wise Radio, on Twitter at 3Wise Radio, or hashtag 3Wise Radio. Yes, we'll even look into the Twitter to see this. And then you can also find us or email us at 3wiseradio@gmail.com. Our sister podcast is Movie Versus, which comes out every Thursday. And you know what? They're good guys over there. I just want to say that. I hope they're listening, because they're good guys.
Because I've been so mean to them lately.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. That's going to do it for us this week. We'll talk to you next week when we review Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
3Wise Radio is a production of 3Wise Media. For more information, check us out on Facebook.